I call to order the Board of Education meeting 1597. 2.0, any additions, deletions, or corrections? Dr. Lake, do we have any changes to the agenda?
We do not.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. It's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like to invite our students from early childhood to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. See them right up here. Yeah.
I want to introduce you to our ECE representatives this evening. We have Carly and Alex, and Carly is in the Bear Room. Can you turn around, Carly, so everyone can see you in the audience too? Awesome. Carly is a student in the Bear Room at ECE West. She loves to work in the art area. She has tons of friends, and she has a great time at school. So thank you for representing us, Carly.
Carly, we have a certificate here recognizing you as Student of the Month, so that's for you. And then you can never have enough Lindbergh swag. So we also have, or I should say t-shirt. So here we go. So we also get a t-shirt tonight too. So congratulations. All right. We're going to do a quick little picture with us right over here. If you want to do them both together. All right, we'll do both of them together.
Let me introduce Alex then real quick. Alex is actually representing our Parents as Teachers program. Miss Beth is her parent educator, or was her parent educator many years ago. Alex is possibly the very best big sister ever. And she's always ready to play a game or create. She loves sports and reading. So thank you, Carly. I'm sorry, thank you, Alex.
Congratulations. Alex, we have the same thing for you. So that
I also get the honor tonight to talk about our teacher and support staff members of the year. And first, I want to talk about Kara Rose. Kara, can you come up here? Kara's been a special educator with us at Lindbergh ECE for 10 years. She's a part of the BLT, our building leadership team, so she really is a leader within the staff and helps to bring any concerns to the staff, or bring any concerns from the staff to the BLT and take that back. So she's an important part of our team. She's an amazing teacher. She mentors other staff members. She's a great support and is always willing to go the extra mile for her school, her students, her families, or her colleagues. She's amazing with her families and students, and I was thrilled to hear that she was voted as the ECE Teacher of the Year for 2023-24. Congratulations, Kara.
Kara, we have a certificate
And then I want to introduce our support staff member of the year, Beth Crancer. Come on up, Beth. I actually have a hard time remembering ECE without Beth there. Beth has been with us for 25 years. She began with us as a teacher in the crayon room. She excelled as a teacher, of course, and then wanted to become a parent educator. She excelled as a parent educator also, and is now the PAT coordinator. She's been a great leader for PAT, and I was also so happy when she was voted Support Staff Member of the Year. It is certainly well-deserved. Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate everyone. That's awesome. So this is a time where we'll take a short break, and if you would like to leave, so that you don't have to attend our meeting, you may go.
I would go.
That's a tiny one. It's tiny, tiny. Want me to wait till they're all kind of out? Okay. Next on our agenda is 5.0 consent resolutions. We have 2 consent resolutions this evening. Resolution honoring Building Teachers of the Year and the resolution honoring Building Support Staff Persons of the Year. Do I have a motion to approve the consent resolutions as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Andrew and Jen. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Thank you to all those wonderful people who are being recognized. 6.0, citizen communication regarding agenda items. We do not have any for this evening. 7.0 is communications. 7.01 is our calendar of events. Ms. Vetter?
Yes, thank you. We are coming into the last week of school year, which is very exciting. So on May 22nd, we have our high school graduation. May 24th is the last day of school, and it's a half-day, 11:30 dismissal, I believe. Yes. That's what's on my calendar. I think it's 11:30. I know. Right, I'm pretty sure it's 11:30. District offices are closed on Monday, May 27th for Memorial Day. And then beginning June 7th, the district offices are closed on Fridays through July 26th. June 17th is the Finance Advisory meeting. Then we're back here on June 18th for our Board of Education meeting. And then again on June 27th for a special board meeting to discuss the budget.
Thank you. 7.02 is a report of meetings, and this is where board members can talk about whether they've attended any state or parent group meetings. Does anybody have any they would like to share?
I do.
This is not a parent group meeting, but I attended the Mechanical Contractors Association dinner because my husband's an engineer and involved in all that. And the high school project, the HVAC project, won a, what was it? Best Mechanical HVAC Installation Project over $5 million. So Wegman won that for our high school.
Awesome.
I attended SSD's Governing Council meeting. It was a special workshop on the budget. There's been a lot of conversation over the past year about the budget, and a lot of the Governing Council members had many questions, and so they decided to hold a special workshop to go over some questions about SSD's budget from this past year, and then to look forward to the budget coming up. It was a very long discussion with lots of questions. I have a whole binder if anybody wants to dive in deeper, but I'll just go with my main takeaways. Mostly what was presented from Dr. Macklin, who's the superintendent, is that in last year of June 2023, that there was mostly inaccurate information of finances that were presented to the SSD Board of Education as well as the Governing Council. So right now, they are mostly working to use their words, right the ship. And so they are creating a 5-year plan to decrease expenditures, reduce capital, and reallocate staff to stabilize the fund balance. If this is successful, it's projected to generate a savings of over $120 million for their budget over the next 5 years. They are mostly working with their fund balance to stabilize that. Their target is 40%, which would cover the district expenses for 4 to 5 months. This is a yearly budget averaging about $500 million, so it's a very large budget. One of the most notable things that I was looking at is their staffing adjustment plan. SSD has over 5,000 employees, and they have an average about 600 retirements and resignations a year, so there's always a real big turnaround. But in their 5-year plan, their plan is to not rehire 128 positions per year, so it's gonna start docking down the number of employees. But they did say that loss of positions is handled through attrition and a reallocation of roles and responsibilities. So there's going to be a lot of conversation about what that means, what that looks like for SSD, a lot of conversations with partner districts to see how that is going to affect staffing at our schools. So again, if you want, there's a lot to look at, a lot of specific numbers that are alarming, to say the least, but it sounds like they are really trying to take hold of righting the ship, as they say. And it was a very interesting meeting, and I'm interested to see what else they have to say. The Governing Council is set to approve the budget in June, and so I still have some questions that I will be bringing to administration there, and so if anyone wants to chat with me more to have a better understanding, I'm happy to process with you.
Megan, I have a question. We're already concerned that we don't have enough SSD staff. If they want to cut 100, how many did you say?
128 a year for the next 5
okay.
years.
In an already understaffed district. I am very concerned about that. I would like you to add that to your list of
Yes,
questions, is how they plan to actually provide services
Yeah.
with fewer positions.
Yeah, so one thing that they talked about, and there's a graph in here, is how the number of students enrolled in IEP has been in a steady decline. But what we are talking about is even though the number of students is less, the number of minutes required for each student is actually increasing. So even though the enrollment is kind of declining or stabilizing in equal numbers, the minutes are continuing to add up. And so how that is going to work, I just don't know. And we had a lot of discussions about it at the meeting, and everybody is very concerned about that. And it just feels like a plan that doesn't necessarily feel great for kids and their needs. And so I think that's going to be a huge topic of discussion.
I also think the reserve they want to keep is a little high, and they could afford to keep teachers if they kept the reserve a little lower.
So that was gonna be my question. How did they give you an explanation of why they landed on 40?
Let me look at my notes, because there was something that said, why is ours higher than everybody else's?
And I think that's lower than they used to previously keep it.
So the question was posed, why does SSD have a higher fund balance than other districts? Historically, SSD has had a fund balance of approximately 30% due to years of strong fiscal management. One reason some school districts have higher fund balance than others is due to the timing of revenues and expenses. So they go on to talk about how the bulk of revenue comes in December and January, which we are aware of. So they talked about the reserve percentage in 2003 and 2004 was 17.29% and then 15.3%. Since then, no tax anticipation note has been necessary. With the population of students SSD serves, there can also be timing issues with federal payments and the immediate needs of students. There are many payments related to special needs students in early childhood special education that aren't reimbursed until the following year. So that was
Well,
the
and
explanation.
We just, as Tara, have you shared, written in the Friday packet? Yeah, that we just received 4 additional staff.
Yes, they gave a budget-specific packet for Lindbergh, and it shows in here all of the teachers, the additional staff that Lindbergh requested and that they were filled. So it shows the teacher and who and so on and so forth. So that is still
Was
the
there,
plan.
was the question of where you're adding staff, how is that playing into if you're trying to reduce staff 120?
So they're saying that this will.
Reallocation of staff.
Yeah, this is the reallocation. So again, they're talking about having 600 people a year who retire and resign. And so of that, they can take away 128 and reallocate.
So, but I know they kind of explained the history of their fund balance, but did they give an explanation of why 40%, not like 28% or 30% or 25%?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Oh, I just, sorry, add one more thing. The biggest part of the budget that is, that's hitting the budget and is, basically they're saying if we don't do anything, we're going to run out of money, is because of contract negotiations and how those may have not been handled correctly, but the contracts are in, and so now that money is hitting the budget. And so there's just a lot of extra money that is being spent on contracts that maybe wasn't budgeted in prior years and is now hitting the
So they
budget.
did like 3- and 5-year agreements. And now that they're getting to the 2nd and 3rd year.
Those percentages are going up, but not necessarily known or reported that they were. And this is all on their board docs, so I'm not sharing anything that's confidential. This is all on their board docs, and this is there for people to see. They've talked a lot, Dr. Macklin talked a lot about how he did this budget retreat because he wants to be transparent with governing council, with the community about getting SSD finances under control and having a plan in place that will serve students well and also allow for fiscal responsibility. So we will see how it goes. So I will definitely keep us posted and in tune with everything that they're doing, and come back with any information that I can find.
Anybody? Thank you. I was going to share about the 3 AI meetings I attended through MSBA, but not as exciting. So we'll just move right along to 7.03, announcements. Ms. Vetter.
Sorry, it's me again. Lindbergh Schools received the following recognitions from the Dual Credit Enrollment Partnership with St. Louis Community College. We have the most dual credit students for the 2023-2024 school year, most money saved overall, highest increase in dual credit section offerings, and the highest average savings per dual credit student. So the total savings for Lindbergh School students by taking dual credit enrollment classes with STLCC is almost $2 million, $1,999,909.50. So amazing, really, really amazing stuff. Yes. Our board advisory committees, we just want to thank all the members who've served on one of the board advisory committees over the 2 past years. Your dedication, input, and advice have been extremely beneficial on issues that affect our district. The board is excited to now welcome new members on our finance, student life, teaching and learning, and technology Board of Education advisory committees. These committees allowed board members to seek input and advice from community members and promote widespread involvement and participation on issues that affect our district. Each committee meets regularly, and cabinet members provide reports at monthly board meetings. Committee members must be patrons of Lindbergh schools and will include community members, parents, board members, and district employees. In addition, we invite and encourage students in grades 7 through 12 to apply for participation as well. Committee members will be appointed prior to the start of the school year and will serve 2-year terms. Applications will be emailed to all Lindbergh families next month, and new members will be notified this summer. And that's all.
Thank you. 7.04, review of upcoming Board of Education meeting agendas. Ms. Fetter.
Yes, thank you. So we meet again Tuesday, June 18th at 7 p.m. for a regular board meeting. Please note that this is an updated meeting date. It was originally set for Thursday, June 20th, but is now Tuesday, June 18th. Our regular meeting tentative agenda items are our regular business items, resolutions for our District Teacher of the Year and graduating class of 2024, second reading of policy EHBD, student transportation services, and central office is scheduled to be here for recognitions. We will also meet at 9 a.m. on Thursday, June 27th for a special board meeting, and this is to go over the budget. These meetings are open to the public and patrons are encouraged to attend. Signing off.
Thank you again. 7.05 is Board of Education member appointments. There are none this evening. 7.06 is the MSBA board report. And so we will now watch the May MSBA board report.
Missouri School Boards Association's board report. We begin with a look back at MSBA's Advocacy Day held on April 9th in Jefferson City. Preparations for the event took place throughout March. MSBA's spring virtual meeting and the Lunch and Learn webinars prepared school board members for their meetings with legislators and provided information on several legislative issues now before the Missouri General Assembly as it heads for its May adjournment. Senator Carla Esslinger spoke during the Advocacy Day event at the Mill Bottom before the program headed to the Capitol. Senator Esslinger applauded school board members for putting children first.
And I want to thank you most importantly for always, to me, always putting children first. Your decisions should never be based on what is good for the individual. It cannot be based on what is good for maybe a particular aspect of your community, particular aspect of your school district. But you guys have this huge challenge that you have to look at the whole. School board members have to look at all and be able to truly navigate that school district. And I just applaud you, because it's not particularly the highest paid job, is it? Right?
At the Rotunda, the Carter D. Ward Excellence in Advocacy Award was presented to Jennifer Wolfsey, formerly of the Kansas City Public Schools Board of Education. The award is given annually to a past or present board member who has excelled at advocacy. Jennifer stressed the importance of protecting public education.
The work that I'm very proud of course, I'm very proud of my children and my family, but working on behalf of all the children in Missouri, I'm really super passionate about public education and protecting it. It is completely under attack right now, and it is our job as school board members to try to do everything within our power to keep that from happening.
Advocacy Day also included a student showcase at the Capitol, where students from districts throughout the state were on hand to discuss and demonstrate innovative programs in their districts. Senator Lincoln Huff also spoke at the event and visited the showcase to see firsthand the amazing students and programs from across the state. The deadline is approaching to sign up for your district's free Emergency Operations Plan Development Tool. MSBA, in partnership with the Department of Public Safety, is offering another school safety improvement program for fiscal year 24, but the offer expires on June 1st. The program provides public school districts that did not participate in last year's funding program with 1 year at no cost access to MSBA's online Emergency Operations Plan Development Tool, MOEOP. John McDonald, the Chief Operating Officer of MSBA's Center for Education Safety, sat down with CES's Bob Klossmeyer to discuss the importance of a safety plan.
It's always easier to justify what you've done than try to justify what you didn't do.
Absolutely.
And that conversation then really needs to be had in every school in the state to understand why we need a tool
It does.
that builds an EOP, and not just here in Missouri, but around the country.
Right.
If you're a school district right now that doesn't have an EOP anywhere, you've got a problem.
It makes no sense not to have a plan because, you know, the safety of your school is centered around that plan. Everything, all the procedures you do for school safety is included in that plan. So that is the focal point of your school safety initiative.
So that really is the foundation for school
really is.
safety.
Absolutely.
You have that EOP tool. That's a foundational aspect which you can build an entire
Absolutely. Yes.
All right.
Visit the MSBA website for more information on how to register for your district's free MOEOP tool and upcoming EOP regional workshops. Make plans now to attend MSBA's Summer Summit June 24th and 25th in Branson. Join school board members and leaders from across Missouri to learn about emerging trends and hot topics in education. The summit's general session features Megan Johnson, a generational expert, speaker, and author. With the workforce spanning across 5 generations, it can be a struggle to find the right balance between the sometimes conflicting needs of each generation.
Now, my presentation is titled Zap the Generational Gap, and that's what we're going to do. Now, some of you are thinking, I can already feel you thinking this. You're thinking, I bet this is just going to be one of those generational bashing sessions. Or it's going to be one of those sessions where they're going to tell us that we have to throw out all the good stuff we've been doing all these years and we have to sacrifice everything for somebody else. No, no, no. Not only are we going to talk about the qualities each generation brings into the workplace, but we're going to talk about the strengths and the action items you can take to improve your multi-generational relationships.
Also, be sure your board is represented at the June Delegate Assembly to be held in conjunction with the Summer Summit. Delegates will be electing state officers for the coming year at that meeting. The nominating committee is proposing a slate of officers for consideration. You can watch video interviews with the candidates for state office posted on the MSBA website, as well as an explanation of this year's process. Registration information for the Summer Summit is also posted on the website. And finally, if you've been following MSBA's social media pages, you've seen many of the regional winners of MSBA's student scholarships. Congratulations to all of the regional winners and to Zach Shockey of Jefferson City, who is also the statewide winner. All of the essays from the regional winners are on the MSBA website. There were a record number of entrants this year, and these students truly exemplify the amazing learning happening in every corner of the state. Congratulations to all. That's it for this month. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and we'll see you in June for the next MSBA Board Report.
Okay, 8.0, special reports. First are cabinet updates. And Dr. McKinney?
Sure. The HR Board Advisory met last week. We examined a few things. We examined one of the classified salary schedules that is being reviewed for revision. We discussed how ACA requirements may impact our recent retirees who plan to return to sub, and some discussions about how to mitigate that. We reviewed the current enrollment report for next year and staffing, and we also reviewed the monthly personnel report.
Thank you. Joelle?
We had our Finance Advisory Committee meeting this week on Tuesday. I believe that's what it was. It was a long meeting. Business had 10 items plus financials on the agenda this month, pretty substantial items as well. So we had a lot of discussion around each topic, a lot of various topics. So to be prepared for this evening's meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Sparks?
Two of my advisories met within the last month. Technology Board Advisory, we toured the aviation space and really had some conversations about the challenges of emerging technologies and how we continue to provide students with opportunities like AI or even some of the software that's associated with drone aviation and ensuring that privacy is maintained. So just as we continue to navigate that world, as technology continues to grow, we have to work to protect student data privacy. And sometimes that's not easy. We have to work, with these vendors in order to get them to agree to our stipulations to ensure that student information is protected. And then Teaching and Learning Board Advisory, we had the opportunity to share the recommendations from the Embedded Credits and Academies Task Force, and they were one of our first feedback groups to share with us their thoughts about the development of the micro school that we talked about at the last board workshop. So they gave us some really good input, and then we followed that up with a deep dive with students as well. So have some really good feedback as we continue to develop this for the 25-26 school year.
Excellent, thank you. 8.02 is our student report. Laura Pimentel.
All right, so as we approach the end of the school year, a lot of activities are wrapping up and also a lot of end-of-year testing. So this month's report, I'm going to talk about some state competitions, AP testing, foreign language achievements, journalism awards, and Teacher Appreciation Week. So last week was National Teacher Appreciation Week, and this year the theme for it at the high school was Top Gun Teachers, like Top Gun Maverick. And Student Council celebrated the hard work of LHS teachers through free lunches, yogurt parfaits, gifts, and handwritten notes to each and every teacher. In late April, we had students perform at the State and Solo Small Ensemble Festival at Mizzou. And we had 8 small ensembles and 26 solos earn gold medals, which is the highest you can get. And we had 4 small ensembles and 13 solos win silver medals. At the beginning of the month, our esports teams headed to Mexico, Missouri to compete in the state competition. And both teams who competed performed really well, but our Varsity League of Legends team won first in the state, making program history. Similarly, our LHS Scholar Bowl team competed at state last weekend, and they became the 2024 state champions, both making program history. For the past 2 weeks, Lindbergh has been administering AP exams like every other school. But this year, Lindbergh is administering 1,148 AP exams, which is actually almost 200 more than last year, which is really cool because I think that's just like one way to measure our students' commitment to their education. So seeing that big of an increase in just 1 year is kind of cool. A few weeks ago, the Lindbergh Publications programs received a lot of state and national awards. The Columbia Scholastic Press Association and the Spring National Journalism Convention gave national awards to 13 Lindbergh students for their work. And on a state level, the Missouri Interscholastic Journalism Association ranked all 3 of our publications, being Pilot's Newspaper, Yearbook, and the Flyers News Broadcast, as All Missouri, which is the highest rating possible from that organization. Additionally, 35 pieces of work submitted into specific categories received state awards from that association. Last week, results came back for students who took the National French exam, which was taken by nearly 45,000 students in the country. And so Lindbergh students were able to receive some recognition for their work. We had over 30 students receive national or state awards, and we even had 1 student place first in the state of Missouri, which is 7th in the nation, which I think is really cool. On the sports side, we've had 1 doubles tennis team advance to the state tournament, and our boys volleyball season just ended last night at the state quarterfinals with the highest percentage of wins in program history. And then due to some scheduling conflicts, we weren't able to conduct the Student Representative Board Advisory Zoom meeting that we had planned in April, so I don't really have anything to share regarding that. It'll now take place next Tuesday on the 20th. But on another note, we've started sending out some applications for the students to serve on next year's advisory committees, and those forms will close next Friday. And that is all I have for the student report.
Thank you. It's always fun to hear your reports. I love all the information, so thank you. Next is 9.0, action items by consent. We have action items by consent 9.01 to 9.11. Does anyone wish to remove any of these items for individual consideration? Are any questions? No? Nothing? Okay. Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve consent items 9.01 through 9.11?
So moved.
Second.
Megan and Jen. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Individual action items, 10.0. We have 5 this evening. 10.01, Virtucom High School Chromebooks, financing by, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Joelle, TEQ Lease?
Sounds right to me.
Okay, Inc. To open the discussion, do I have a motion to approve the TEQ Lease Education Finance Computer Hardware Lease in the amount of $1,188,221.70, paid under the master lease document with annual payments of $324,371.42, and enter into a contract and financing with the Chief Financial Officer as the authorized signer.
So moved.
Jen, second.
Second.
Andrew, okay. Joelle, is there anything you would like to add?
The item really talks about it, but last month you approved the equipment from the vendor, and this is the financing for the equipment. So this is the rotation, is already in Dominic's budget, so it's a 4-year replacement. Last time we did all this through COVID, I remember, because I was trying to sign all these lease documents and fax them back from my house. And so this was much better this time.
I saw that on the lease agreement that we own the equipment at the end.
What we do is we exercise the purchase of the equipment at the end of the lease. You can return it or purchase it. It's still like $1 buyout, and then what we do is sell that on GovDeals. So if you recall, when we brought the month prior to bringing the equipment to purchase, Dominic put an item on there so that we could get a bid for selling the ones that we were going to get rid of. We got, I think, 6 or 7 bids through vendor registry on those purchases. That was really competitive, and he secured about $200,000 that he'll use to go towards these leases.
Yeah, so that was my question.
So when
they'll be the same
we sell it, we
process.
use the money, we put it back, and it's like a 3-month process. So this will be it until we are handed them before school starts.
Anybody else have a question? Okay, hearing none, we had a motion by Jen and a second by Andrew. We will now vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay, next, 10.02, DHE High School Teacher Laptops, financing by American Capital Financial Services. To open the discussion, do I have a motion to approve the American Capital Financial Services computer hardware lease financing in the amount of $266,185.16, paid under master lease document with annual payments of $66,546.29, and enter into a contract and financing with the Chief Financial Officer as the authorized signer.
So moved.
Julia, motion.
Second.
Second. Matt, okay. Joelle, anything to add?
Ditto. Same thing, different vendor and different financing company.
So we had a motion by Julia, second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7, no opposition. 10.03 is selection of architects. To open the discussion, do I have a motion to accept Architectural Images proposal for services and authorize administration to finalize the contract terms as presented? Should an acceptable contract not result from negotiations with the second firm selected, the board authorizes administration to negotiate a contract with the next firm from the list, or may direct the superintendent or designee to seek additional statements of qualifications from other firms and then submit a new list of qualified firms. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this one has been a process that we've been doing pretty much since the first of the year. And this is hiring our second architect from the most recent qualifications and proposals, but our third architect altogether. So as you recall, this process is per policy, first doing qualifications, then getting a list of top qualifiers, then starting with the top qualifier, doing all that work, negotiating, issuing a contract, then going to the second one. Then you always have the option to, go to the third one if you don't like the first or second. But in this case, our top qualified proposal, which was BRS about a month and a half ago, or maybe it was 2 months ago. And then this is Arch Images, which we were very happy with their proposal and pricing and contract data. So we'd like to hire them and then stop the process. And then begin the work of scheduling meetings with 3 architects and contractors. So we've really got some good rates, and we're really excited about moving forward with the new group. So,
Any questions? Nope, we're all good. Okay. So we had a motion by Megan, a second by Jen, and now we will all vote. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. You can hire your architect. 10.04, approval of BSI guaranteed maximum price, which is shortened to GMP. Amendment Prop R 2024 renovation and gym/storm shelter addition at Crestwood Elementary. To open the discussion, do I have a motion to approve the BSI guaranteed maximum price amendment number 1 in the amount of $11,393,900 for the renovation and gym/storm shelter addition at Crestwood Elementary School, and authorize the administration to negotiate, enter into a contract, and encumber funds from the Prop R proceeds in advance of June 2024 bond sale and July 2024 funding as presented.
So moved.
Andrew, second.
Second.
Megan.
all right, I'll talk
My
a little
friend,
bit, and then
it's
I'm
your turn again.
sure that Dr. Lake will maybe want to make a comment, but this process started a long time ago on March 14th, 2023, when we finished a long process and hired BSI as our CMAR. So beginning that far back and doing the things we did up front is why we can, a month since the bond passed.
Shovel ready.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the shovel ready project that you authorized us to prepare about 1.5 million. And so we spent that money up front, and we can pay ourselves back that out of the bond proceeds.
Yep.
But instead of, again, just to remind everybody, instead of selling, passing it in April, waiting 6 to 8 to 9 months before you would see any work being done, this allows us to come out of the gate with projects for our families, so.
Yep, so the bids were really good that
Yeah,
came in
we
from-
had just, the ballpark was 12 million for construction, so it came in a little bit under what we had anticipated. And again, this process of the CMAR, having the architect and the contractor in the room together, there's clarity on what does this mean on the drawings, what's this finish supposed to be. And so we did this, if you remember, we did this delivery model with the Idea Center, and we really liked it. There was less change orders. There was actually some contingency monies left after that project. We have same process here. We have contingencies monies built in there in the overall project cost. So we're very pleased with this price. So, and then this kind of helps us give us a ballpark of what Long's going to cost us and what Kennerly's going to cost us as well. They'll be a little different because each building's a little unique, but three of those buildings are getting basically the same scope of work.
There's a lot, that's what I want to say, there's a lot of work done to get this number where it is at. I mean, probably almost a year's worth of work. And meetings and things like that. So this is nice to finally have a number and have the board approve it and start working on it this summer. So I'm going to thank everybody who was part of the process because there was a lot of people.
And remind me, once we put the shovel in, how long will the project be estimated?
This project, the construction of the gymnasium storm shelter, 9 months to a year. And then the remodel has to happen over 2 summers because we have to go in and do the abatement that needs to be required, some other infrastructure works, and then coming in and doing all the new floorings and remodeling the bathrooms and doing some things. We may be able to do some bathroom remodel this summer, but it'll be over 2 summers, this summer and next summer.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions?
It's you, it said that the budget for this was 16 million, but this comes in at 12, so what's the difference
That's the
there?
project budget. We have owner provided in there and architect fees and, so the overall project, but the cost to construct the building,
Yeah, so that's when I said
project
12
cost.
million was
Project
we had
cost.
plugged in this project cost of 12 million construction, but then you have all the other fees that go on top of it.
Add on, everything on top of that.
Which
Testing,
now will probably be about
permits.
15 million.
Yeah,
so,
testing
instead of
permits,
16.
but yeah, so we had 16, but we're probably
It's
going to be more
More
closer to
around
15.
And this is a maximum price contract. Can you just explain how that works?
Well, that means when we sign the document, that's the guaranteed maximum price from the CMAR. So the risk is on them as far as coming in at that price. Like I said, I think if I look down, all the numbers are there. You'll see a contingency item in there. I think it's $260,000. That's really the only contingency. So like you said, at the Gifted Center, we did get some of the contingency back, which is nice to end a project when you get contingency back. So that really is the only number that may change, and we are hoping it's less than what they have on there. So they're at risk to come in at that number.
So the only way this goes higher is if we somehow change our mind
Change
on what the
orders,
scope
and
is.
scope change,
Yeah.
and you know how we have a new process on that. I don't think Dr. Lake has selected a board member yet for that ad
I
hoc.
haven't talked to all of them about that yet.
Ad hoc committee with some finance committee members and facility committee members to review change orders and things like that. So, as is. So we'll see what comes down the pike.
We have an owner contingency in there as
Yeah,
well.
we have an owner
Yeah,
contingency as well.
there's
so-
about just under $1 million of contingency for change or whatever needs to happen.
So when you see that total budget, that, like I said, that includes our contingency, our owner-provided items, permits, architect fees, all that kind of stuff.
Like the bleacher, like we're paying, we do that ourselves. It saves us money instead of paying the contractor their fee to manage the installation of the
I think they're on there. If you
bleacher.
look at the
Oh,
very
is it?
bottom
Yeah.
of the thing, it has, there's the numbers, and it'll say what is owner-provided. So it has a lot of details on there that I just used and put in my budget, and then, nice to see somebody else do the budget, and I just get to enter it.
Any other questions? We all good? Okay, now we're gonna vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Put that shovel in there. Boom. 10.05, selection of food service management company. To open discussion, do I have a motion to approve Southwest Food Service Excellence as the food service management company for the next 3 years with an option to extend for 2 additional years based on satisfactory service as presented?
So moved.
Second.
And Megan.
Okay.
Joelle again.
Yep, we've been working on this one since early January when the RFP went out. This RFP process is pretty much governed by the state of Missouri because there's so many federal dollars involved. We went through that process, posted it, it was out 90 days. We did have a walkthrough with, I would say, I think there was 4 or 5 companies that walked through 3 of our facilities, high school, Truman, and I think Long were the ones we did. We were doing sparing that day, but that was when we had all the water problems over there. And so 2 vendors did submit at the end, and we reviewed the pile of proposals and all of the information, and based on the state scorecard, SFE came out on top. They actually have a lower admin fee and management fee. And I have a lot of other details about comparison document on the scorecard if anybody wants to know about that. But we've been very happy with their services, and the financial statement and budget that they presented is realistic with our actual, our actual happenings this year and prior years. So I'd like to recommend SFE as the food service vendor moving forward.
Any questions?
The scones, still. I know I've talked to you about it, but I'm just glad we're keeping the scones.
They're very, very busy right now with caterings. I think they might be doing more caterings and parties than anything else at the end of school.
At the flyer at Invitational, we needed some assistance, and you all showed up, came in on that Saturday, and helped out. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. We had a motion by Matt, a second by Megan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations. 11.0 reports. There are no 11.01 reports. Record reports, 11.02 other reports. We will move to 11.03, review of board policies and procedures. 11.03, review of board policies and or procedures. We have 11.0301, the review of board policy EHBD, first reading, as well as 11.0302, administrative procedure EHBD-AP1 for information only. Please contact your contact a cabinet member if you have any questions to review. The board policy EHBD will return next month for a second reading. 11.04, there are no 11.04 resident-initiated agenda items this evening, and so we will move to 12.0 recess. We've already conducted our executive session, so there's no need for us to recess, so we can move to 14.0 adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn board meeting 1597?
So moved.
Second.
Yes, Rachel, she hasn't done it tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Board meeting 1596 is adjourned.